Welcome everyone to Swift Kick TV. We are here for another episode for all of you.
Welcome.
We have some, these are always special guests. I was going to call them guests, but they're always here. We're always here. We're always here.
We just won't leave.
Here.
We live here.
Let us out. No, sorry. Introductions. Let's go around. Over here we have...
Sabina Colleran.
Over here we have...
Melissa Ruiz.
And over here we have Tom Kriegelstein. The at, and the at. There it is. Those are the for...
Stop pointing. Now, where am I going to put it when you pull... Oh.
Right here. You're going to
Let us out.
Put it here.
I'm not going to put it there. There will be nothing there on your...
We're not here to talk about post-production. No, that's not. We are here. Actually, before we get into why we're here, I want an update because I noticed that you walked in with a new. Is this the latest fashion?
This is the latest fashion.
Is it Burberry or Coach? What is it?
It's Foch.
It's Foch. It's a whole lot of Foch. Yeah. So we ran a lot. I didn't run as much as I wanted to in the Ragnar run.
If you remember a few episodes back.
Yeah, and I potentially have a stress fracture, but mostly fashion forward.
I'm just curious.
That was good.
Yeah.
Are we gonna start signing it now or later?
I think later, but also I'm really feeling like glitter.
Yeah, I was gonna say like neon fluorescent. Yeah.
Just like douse it in glitter.
Whenever a show brings up glitter and bedazzling within the first 3 minutes, stick around.
It's gonna be a
It's
good
gonna be a good show.
It's gonna be good.
But that's not why we're here. I'm sorry to hear about this.
Yeah, it's all
hopefully
good.
you get better.
Send healing thoughts.
Fun fact, she already wants to run the next one. She can't even run yet, but she's already trying to get us all to run the next one. I'm like, you really can't even run yet. So stay tuned. We may run this again, Sabina.
Oh, remember when I said I didn't want to do the last one? Guess what I still don't want to do?
We're going to get you.
We're going to get you one of these times.
Yeah, get me dead on a road somewhere trying to run, yes.
Get you something.
Besides broken stress fractures and hearts, we are here to talk about
Mine's fine.
We are here because we have a special guest that is going to join us soon to talk about this topic. This topic of the show, which is about leaving gracefully.
Yes.
How do you gracefully leave the job or the team or the organization you're with in a way that doesn't burn bridges?
Right.
And the special guest that we have has some experience with that. Yes?
Yeah. And I also have some fun facts about our guest.
Oh.
I love
Are
fun
you
facts.
ready? I love fun facts too. Are you ready? Our guest chronicles their daily commute with a special hashtag.
Hashtag.
Ooh.
Is the hashtag like special hashtag?
I can't tell you yet. Yeah.
No
Secret.
reveals.
It is top secret.
Number 2.
Number 2. Our guest earned a doctorate in higher education. Our guest is a doctor.
Can she prescribe drugs?
We'll find out.
Not
And our guest is a co-parent of a lovely pit bull.
Ooh.
I've seen pictures.
We have.
Yeah. I just want to like snuggle up and
Snuggle.
Yeah, so I'm pumped for our guest.
I've never met a doctoral pit bull who hashtags. I'm so excited. This is going to be great.
Co-parent, not a.
Well, I get it takes 2 people to make a baby, so this is
This is really getting weird.
Now who made this a PG-13? Now who did it?
All right. So before we bring her, this person out, this special guest out here, we always like to give a speaker tip to our audience and our friends out there because most people who know us know Melissa and I being on stage at schools and corporations and delivering programs, which we'll talk about in a little bit. However, it's always good to give back, and so we have another speaker tip for you today. It is called Drop the Mic. Related to the topic of leaving gracefully, the question is, how do you gracefully exit a speech in a way that leaves a lasting impact? Well, there are 2 ways that I like to do and we like to do and we've talked about within Swift Kick. Number 1, leave on high energy, motivation, feeling fired up. What are one of the things we do with sometimes at speeches at the end?
Karaoke.
That's right. We have them grab the microphone, put it up in the air, turn to your neighbor, in the deep voice, and karaoke challenge championship.
Yes!
And it's just like all out energy. They leave feeling so high, so jazzed. Motion is emotion. They are all about it. Then the alternative is the exact opposite, where we go really deep with them. We take them to such a personal space that they feel the energy, but it's a completely different energy. It's an internal heart space energy. We're sharing personal stories about the challenges we face in our lives that they can relate to, and they leave in a space that's going to alter the way they think about everything else in their lives.
This is when they cry.
And cry.
Cue the crying.
And if you don't cry.
You sing karaoke forever.
Yes, we just keep going. I'll just keep singing. It is
You'll
called
cry.
Drop the Mic, and it's 2 great ways to end a speech, and remember to close out that way. With that, I think it's time. To
You ready?
bring
I'm ready.
out our special guest.
Wow!
Here is the doctoral pitbull mother
Extraordinaire.
hashtagger.
Aren't you so glad we introduced you?
Absolutely. It's one of the more different introductions for sure.
Oh, now, I feel like because you have a doctoral degree, like, I want you to introduce yourself to the group.
Am I supposed to
you
say like
get
a third
say it.
person? Like
Yeah.
I am Dr. No.
Yes.
Well then, I am Dr. Juhi Bhatt. That sounds so weird. Juhi Bhatt currently serve as the Assistant Dean of Students for Community Standards and Student Involvement at the Fashion Institute of Technology in New York.
That
That
is
is a
lot.
long
You know, I
job
think
title.
prerequisite for me at this point is to have a really long title
Right?
for every job.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6,
Yep.
7, 8, 9, 10 words.
You were trying to come up
in
with
your
an
job
acronym for it and it didn't work.
Didn't work.
It's
no.
2 business cards. It's like, here's my first one. Here's my second one.
Ads
Yeah.
is
yeah.
the acronym.
Perfect.
I did it.
Melissa.
I
That
did it.
rolls right off the tongue,
It
that
sure
one.
does. It sure does. Well, welcome. We're really excited to have you.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
That's right. And to get to know you better, we are entering you into the rapid fire round.
Okay. You ready?
Here's how it works.
No
We're going to
pressure.
ask you some rapid fire questions as quick as you can. Whatever answer comes up. If you get stuck, I'm sure I'll make a joke and then ha ha ha.
Okay.
We'll come
Just say
back.
peanut butter.
I don't know
Peanut
if
butter,
we
got it.
assume people are going to laugh.
All right.
Okay,
With
you ready?
that,
Okay.
hat or scarves?
Scarves.
Worst thing about your commute.
Delays.
Never happens in New York.
What?
No, I'm just kidding. It actually happens
Never,
every,
ever.
every single day. I feel so
There's
bad
never
for
traffic.
tourists on the weekend.
Ugh.
It's the worst. And then they're like, and you're like, excuse me? And all
Yes,
you
I
heard,
was hoping to hear my announcements in Russian today.
yeah, all I heard was run and 6. And I'm like, run away or the train's running? I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay.
nothing. Is it my turn?
Favorite ice cream flavor?
Ooh, chocolate. Anything chocolate.
Okay. Do you like the beach or the lake better?
Ooh, beach.
Bottled water, tap water.
Ooh. Real book, ebook, audiobook.
So I love real books.
Yes.
But as someone who now travels, I recently bought a Kindle, and I absolutely love it to read on the train. And it's so nice.
I'm sorry, I'm still stuck in the bottle.
I knew you were. I could
know.
tell. I could tell.
I'm still stuck there.
It's like pop.
You know what? I can't trust the water everywhere. That's part of
In
my
New
concern.
York, you can't.
Yes.
Good
Okay.
water,
We
yeah.
have
Sure.
great water.
Maybe here in Jersey, but like I'm not
No,
everywhere.
Jersey water, I'm with you. Don't drink that.
Yeah, see?
Mm-mm.
Orlando? Not so
Don't
much.
drink that.
Okay.
Sorry, Orlando
Sorry,
fans.
no, just Florida, the whole thing.
But like, see, for consistency's sake, it's just easier to say bottle.
The fish.
Are we not friends anymore,
Plastic.
Tom? Is this
Plastic.
it?
Oh, no, I got it. I was
Okay.
more like, oh, fancy bottles.
East Coast or West Coast?
East Coast.
Did you ask this one?
No, we have different
No.
ones.
Favorite hashtag?
Sorry, not sorry.
Ooh.
Ah, that's a great one.
That is a good one.
That is a great
Story of
one.
my life. Splenda or sugar?
Sugar.
Dress up at FIT or just whatever you want to wear at FIT?
Oh, there's a standard. You gotta look good at FIT. It's definitely
A lot of pressure.
It is.
I mean, you look great, but
Thank
like,
you.
Yeah.
I gotta represent here
just the
too.
students
I mean,
probably
come on.
walk in just like Z snapping it out with their
I
outfits.
don't honestly. Sometimes I don't understand their style, and I feel
Oh.
outdated. I'm like, what are we doing these days?
You mean the boob? 'Cause-
Right?
The
I
FIT
also
student designed that.
Injured chic.
Honestly, they probably
That's
could
what I call
and would
it.
make it look amazing.
injured chic coming to a runway near you soon.
No, for my
Comes with a
interview at FIT, I had like 4 outfits laid out. It needed to be precise.
Yeah, that's a little.
Yeah,
That's a lot.
Okay.
Oh, do you have another one? Oh.
Yeah. High heels or higher heels?
High heels.
High heels.
My
Can we
knees are
just-
starting to
can we
bother
just-
me.
Look at that.
Woo!
Skinny.
Uh,
How many do you have? He's making these up as he goes along.
physical planner or an app?
Physical planner.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm having fun. That's it. That is it.
I don't know how many where is it?
That is it. Congratulations, you made it out of
Thank you,
the
thank you,
rapid
thank you.
fire round. It's
Yeah.
always a challenge, and again, we always talk about the heat from the rapid fire round. It's because it's actually hot.
It's just-
in
It
the-
is
in the
hot. I'm
studio.
usually not warm. It is warm in
In the
this
studio.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
okay.
Because I'm here.
Wow, that is
That's
my
true, that's
line.
And I'm a robot, so I don't feel
You
heat
don't feel
or
anything.
cold. So I just.
Someone needs to give me some bottled water.
Oh, goodness.
The show over.
Okay, well, beyond the rapid fire questions, we would love to dig in on this topic today, which is about gracefully leaving your position. And you gracefully left a position how many years ago?
So I've done 2 now.
2.
Yeah,
Okay.
so I left Bergen Community College back in January of 2016. Went to Rutgers, New Brunswick for about 14 months. Left there in April 2017 and came to FIT.
Got it.
So twice, yeah.
And so how many years were you at the first one?
From grad student to full-time, 5 years.
5 years.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which is interesting because the research shows that the average person stays in their job around 4.2 to 4.6
I
years.
just wanted to make it precise for you.
It was a great segue.
That's good.
Did you happen to leave because you didn't like your manager? Because that's the other stat I happen
the
to have
stat
here.
that you shouldn't
Could
answer.
if you could just say that, even if it's not true, that would be great.
Hashtag ratings.
Ratings.
Yeah.
What I will say is, right before I left, my boss actually left, and so part of my transition included folks from my team leaving. So
Okay.
maybe it did influence it a little bit.
Yeah, it's. I don't.
Another
it's okay.
episode.
That'll be for the calling people out episode.
Yeah, but I'm curious. Why did you?
Finale.
When did you decide it was right to leave your job? Each one, and maybe for the different reasons. But how did you know it was the right time to leave?
So at Bergen, there wasn't much growth left for me in that role. And so I had asked for more responsibility at the time and to be moved up after my boss left, and it just wasn't in the structure in the cards. And so for me at that time, I was studying to get my doctorate. I was halfway through courses, and I was a coordinator. And so it was kind of hey, what am I going to do to get to that next step at this point? And so I started looking, and Rutgers came along. And when I was at Rutgers, I wasn't necessarily looking to leave, actually. But the position at FIT opened up, and I had a couple mentors who were like, why aren't you looking at this? And at the time, I had been at FIT for at Rutgers for about 8 months. And so I was like, this is really bad. I've only been here for 8 months. This is not going to look so great on my resume. But I had an amazing boss at Rutgers. And so I actually very much went to her transparently. She had told me from the very beginning, just be transparent with me when you think you want to leave or if something comes up. That's all I asked for. So I was like, all right, I will. And so I went to her and I was like, listen, this opportunity has come up. It's amazing. I have some folks who were saying I should put my name into the ringer. I know I've only been here 8 months. What do you think? And she said, yeah, do it. And so I necessarily, and when you talk about bosses, I had a really good one. So, shout out to Jackie Moran. But ended up leaving there after 14 months just to take this opportunity. And that one wasn't necessarily planned. It was kind of just the cards kind of worked out well.
Yeah.
I love the idea that when a boss acknowledges that the person may or may not stay with them, it's the reality of the situation is I don't know how many people are ever going to stay at the job their entire lives except for Sabina.
I was going to say, you won't let me leave.
Her contract.
Let me out.
I won't let her leave this
Forever.
room. We have another episode to record. Do it now. Press that button.
I'm blinking twice. Help me.
I'm blinking twice.
Peanut butter, is that the safe word?
That is not the safe word. He goes for this peanut butter.
Someone say peanut butter?
I'm making your escape speed.
I don't even know where you were going with that. Were you done?
Bosses who allow you to leave, or no?
Yes. I love the acknowledgement that a boss is setting that up. The other thing I did want to say is that when it comes to millennials, one of the biggest things they're looking for in their job is advancement and like skill-based improvement. And so if you run a team or organization and you're not delivering that, and I would assume it's most people, millennials just happen to be particularly involved in this, is that if you're not delivering those skills improvement or desire to grow as a person, then heads up, they may leave independent of you even knowing that they're going to leave or not.
Yeah. No, absolutely. As a millennial myself. No.
I was going to ask you. I didn't want to say.
No,
I was like, is that an insult or a compliment? You're like, I don't know.
No, that's totally fine. I am. The passion for the work at Bergen was there. I had a great team. I loved it. It was just growth was just not possible. And at Rutgers, my role was very narrow. And so my boss knew that Title IX and only Title IX was never going to be my only cup of tea. And so FIT offered a wider portfolio of work that I could do that she understood. Yeah. But you're right, it's not easy, or folks don't usually have a boss that they can go to and have a very transparent conversation, who then also gives them a great recommendation, when they're leaving. And so I've been really lucky in the spaces that I've worked in.
That's really wonderful.
Yeah.
I think that's also a testament to Rutgers. So I did my undergrad and my grad there, and I worked in Res Life there. So we probably know a lot of the same people that just like Res Lifers.
Yes. Or Rutgers are
just forever. But even when I was there, I just remember that very supportive team. And they were just like, hey, what's next for you? That was always the question for them. So.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hey guys,
is this
I went to
episode
Rutgers too.
Sponsored by Rutgers? What?
It could like to be.
Hey.
Tony, I'm looking at you.
I was going to say, you guys know a lot of folks there.
So sort of along those lines, because you had a really supportive boss, this might be a tricky question, but what would you say is the right amount of time to give notice that you do want to leave a position?
Yeah, no, even though I had a supportive boss, I think it depends on how long you've been somewhere too, or your title too, a little bit of how much responsibility you have. The more you have, I think the more time you deserve to give, the organization. So even though my boss was supportive, I gave her a month. So I actually stayed at Rutgers through the end of April, took 2 weeks for myself, negotiated that with FIT, and then started mid-May at FIT. But I think it's important to give at least 4 weeks, to be honest with you. And I think the higher up you get, there are folks in student affairs that give, like a semester, and then transition over to VP or wherever it may be, in order to make sure they're set up. When you talk about not wanting to burn bridges and things like that, if you leave folks high and dry,
kerosene.
Right, you're like lighting the match and you're walking away. But if you leave your job, your task done, making sure some projects might be set up, there are times where you might even have conversations about what the job description looks like before it's getting posted and what could be changed potentially. I think all those pieces help to keep the network going even after you leave.
And at FIT, it's community standards. At Rutgers, it was...
Rutgers, I was ready another long title for you. Assistant Director of Student Affairs Compliance and Title IX Investigator.
That makes me...
Told you, it's my prerequisite.
It's like, I'm sorry, repeat that?
Yeah. And then at Bergen, same?
Bergen, I was the coordinator of student conduct, and now I can't remember that one anymore. That's terrible. But primarily student conduct and student activities.
In all three positions.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking on the business card, I would have put each letter just ... and just let it be really long. And then figure like, what is it?
A to Z.
To misery.
A.B.C.
No, next time I look for a job, it has to say, has the longest title at the institution. Okay, good.
That's for me.
As you were talking through it, I was thinking about how it is a big life situation to switch jobs or leave it, especially if you've been there. You were at the first Bergen for almost 5 years.
Yeah.
And each time in my life when I've had big life transitions, I've gone to someone and they've become my counsel. Whether it's my family as a counsel or friends as a counsel, or I have a business group I go to. Or my barber, whoever, really.
You have a relationship with my barber.
You let someone touch your hair.
Just ignore them.
Or join
I
in.
figured he went every morning. I mean, look at it.
Every morning.
But he's always like, no one touch it. It's mine.
It's raining?
Good to know. Fun facts about Tom.
No, this show is not Roast Tom. This was not the episode.
We told them there was going to be a Roast Tom
There's
season
not a
finale.
Roast Tom.
They're like, finally, it's it.
you were saying.
Oh, yes, I was saying. In those major life moments, what I've done is counsel other people. I'm curious who or if you counseled people as you decided to make the shift, and was it the same group every single time?
Yeah, so I've had a couple of people who are key players, and the group, I'm lucky enough to say, has grown over the years with folks that I've met at conferences or through leadership experiences I've been able to go to. And so, my old boss from Bergen, Nestor Melendez, whom you might know or may not know, he's just awesome. He's one of the first people I always talk to. I also have, Jason Merriweather, Ed Cabellin, and then through my experience with the LDPHE program, which is the leadership development specifically for Asian professionals in student affairs and work like that. Loria Adetta, who's a vice chancellor at University of Hawaii. So I've had some really amazing student affairs folks that I can talk to about all these pieces. But I also have my family, to be completely transparent, when having more personal conversations about what might be good and not. But yeah, I absolutely have people that I reach out to. I think it's necessary. I think you do, to talk through different perspectives. Different people have different options for you or different ideas for you to consider. But at the end of the day, you also have to internally just go, what's good for me? Everyone's going to have a little pinch of salt to give you, right? But you have to figure out what works best.
Well, I think sometimes just talking out loud helps you make your, I'll look at someone,
Absolutely.
talk, oh, I got it, thanks, and walk away.
Right. And they're like, what did I do? I didn't say anything.
You should hear yourself say it. And you're
Yeah.
like, oh no, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
in the case of FIT, I saw the posting and thought nothing of it. I was like, oh, I've only been at Rutgers for a couple months, assistant dean. Like, what am I talking about? I can't go from assistant director to assistant dean. And all my mentors were like, what are you talking about? You have all the experience for this position. Apply. Mm-hmm. And had I not heard that, I wouldn't have done it, to be honest with you. And so, who knows? I'd probably still be at Rutgers and be totally fine because I had good support systems, but would not have thrown my name into the ringer at all.
I remember listening to a TED Talk, and I forget her name at this moment, but she talked about the idea of when making decisions, it goes gut, data, gut. Mm-hmm. So the gut is first, what's my first reaction? Then data is talking to people, gathering information, and then it go ultimately back to my gut, and what does my gut tell me to do in this situation? Yeah. How much did your pit bull play? Do you have? Just your pit bull's name is what?
Minnie. So she's from the shelter. And when they first got her, she was really skinny, so we started calling her Skinny Minnie. Just kind of stuff we kept.
Do you talk to her?
All the time. She's so smart. It's scary. She's a person.
Is she a head tilter?
All the time. Yes! Like when it's in the morning, she goes for walks with my mom or whoever if my mom's not around. But she knows when my mom will be opening up her bedroom door when she's getting ready to go, and you'll see her head tilt, and then she'll run up the stairs. It's time.
Is that you, mommy?
Yeah.
I love it.
So smart.
That's amazing.
Yeah. Scary.
You alluded to it a little bit, but what do you think or know you're getting from this position that you weren't from your previous?
Yeah, this position offers a lot of different opportunities to work with a lot of different areas within our enrollment management and student success division. So I get to work with orientation again. I get to serve as the chair for our campus anti-violence education group, so doing a lot of the programming for students when it comes to domestic violence awareness and talking about sexual assault awareness. I still do student conduct. I don't think that'll ever potentially leave my purview. But, also serving on it's interesting. It serves as a assistant dean in the fact that I get to be a part of larger conversations when it comes to policy and implementations of procedures that I didn't necessarily get to do before of how it'll really impact students. But I'm still on the ground where I'm serving as the lead student conduct person, right? So I'm still meeting with students one-on-one to talk about violations and what they've done and things like that. I also get to work with our peer educator position. So we newly created a health and wellness peer educator position that I'll be overseeing and doing their training and programming. So it's just a lot more diversity in the work that I get to do versus at Rutgers, which was very much just Title IX, which for obvious reasons can be very taxing on an individual.
I was going to say, that's a lot to pay attention to every day, all the time.
A lot of stories to take into account in a lot of places where you can't do as much as you'd like.
Yeah.
And where policy sometimes helps you or hurts you, right? So this position definitely allows for a lot more different hats and different ways and working with a lot of different campus partners in different respects,
And I know out of the million people watching us right now, there's got
Count them.
Count them right there.
Million.
She's counting them right now.
That's
good.
My mom. Hi, Mom. Dad.
There's the shout out.
There it is.
I know some of the people out there are thinking about leaving or transitioning. What advice would you give them to leave besides talking to their pit bull?
They could call Minnie. I mean, I'm sure she would gladly
She's
talk
for
to you.
hire. She has an,
I just walked in.
she has an agent.
I guess really it would be figuring out what you want to leave for. I think that's really important too, right? I would caution against leaving just to leave. I think if you leave for just the reason to leave, you may not get into something that you really want to be at. And so really look at the job description. Don't really look at titles. Look at what the content of the position is. A title may not justify exactly what's the work that's being done. Really look at the passion of the work. I think that's really important, right? At the end of the day, if you don't love what you're doing, you're going to be miserable in the position that you're in. And so really think about what you want to be doing every day, what's going to make you happy and what's going to make you feel satisfied in the work that you do. And then go for it. Don't second guess yourself. Worst case scenario, you don't get it. But if you can be as transparent as you can be with your boss. I think that's really important. Being able to tell them, hey, I'm thinking of this position. I'm thinking of applying, because you're probably going to need their recommendation for one. But two, it's a good way to not burn a bridge. Now, there are places where you can't be transparent. I recognize that. And in that case, try to work around that situation to the best of your ability and potentially talk to some of the people that are your mentors or colleagues or whoever can offer guidance about how to work around that. But in my case, transparency has always worked in the best possible case scenario when you're trying to leave.
Yeah, and I'll just say from the manager side is that the less someone leaves a position high and dry and leaves the team and the team in its place of like, what do we do? The better it is. So
Absolutely.
So whatever it needs to take to be able to help that person, to help that team, not feel like you just ripped yourself out and moved on.
Yeah. I mean, you hear horror stories of folks who leave who don't take care of anything potentially or don't leave any, guidance back about projects they've been working on or things they were going to do. And in that case, I think that's a surefire way to potentially ruin a relationship that you had with the organization or the people that you worked with. So if you truly consider the folks that you work with your family, I wouldn't want to leave my family like that with nothing to take care of when I just left, just drop the mic and walk out of the room, right? I would want to leave them with pieces of whatever information that they needed, or here's the stuff I was taking care of for them. And I think it just makes the loss on them as well as you kind of easier, right? I felt like leaving Bergen in a good place made me feel better about the fact that I was leaving, because I was leaving folks that I truly cared about, students that I really cared about, students that I'm still in touch with, right? And it was important to me. And it was modeling behavior for them too. Like, this is how you leave an organization. So if you're working in higher ed, I would like to think you're trying to show your students as well as your colleagues of what the best way is to potentially leave a situation.
You're constantly role modeling.
Right, exactly.
Whether you like it or not.
Exactly.
Living in a
and they're
fishbowl.
taking notes all the time.
All the time.
Truly. So
Because they're going to hashtag about you.
Sorry, not sorry.
I saw Judy. She was a mess. No.
I want to add one story.
Oh, darn. Tried to cover it up so well.
I want to add one thing about burning bridges, because a story just happened to me recently. I used to have a business partner way back with Red Rover in the early days of Swift Kick, and we parted ways. We divided the company. That didn't have anything to do with, we didn't need a lawyer. We amicably broke the company apart and moved our separate ways. Fast forward to 3 days ago when I was going to have a conversation with someone about potentially partnering on some stuff, and he walks in the room and he looks me in the eyes and says, I'm going to blow your mind right now. And I'm like, okay. And he's like, the first mastermind group that we had here was with your friend Kevin Prentice, who was my old business partner.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Kevin.
Having a second baby. And I was just like, holy crap, that something from so long ago is showing up in my life right here. And if we had a bad relationship, that would impact what's happening right now, regardless of the amount of time that's between the two. So just never burn the bridge if you can.
It's a small field, no matter what field you work in.
Any field.
Folks say it about student affairs, but I think it's true for anything, right? So if you burn that bridge, I feel like it is going to circle back in some capacity to you.
Right. Yeah. Right. I feel like fate is just like, oh, and now you're going to meet that person again.
Kind of like the story that I'm about to share. So that's the good version. The bad version is, I won't say what institution I worked at, but I came into a department and I found out that somebody that left a different department took the flash drive that had every file for that department. Took it with them.
Dumpster fire.
And deleted everything from every other computer of how to replicate, how to do, but took essentially the entire department, put it in their pocket, and walked away.
Wow.
Out of spite or accidentally?
Out of spite.
Has to be spite.
Yes.
Reminds me of the time my younger brother had a computer. He did a ton of work on this music file, and it was like the name of the album was like the Trans Experiential Meditation Port, which is temp, and so the file read temp file.
Oh no!
I needed space on the computer.
Oh, I know where this is going.
Yeah, I went in and delete.
That is the most Tom thing I've ever heard.
That's such a brother thing to do too, right?
Oops, did you need that?
He took it surprisingly.
And then you emptied the recycle bin, didn't you?
Yeah, of course. I'm not a quitter. I go all the way with.
Wait, that didn't say permanently delete? No.
Took the hard drive out and smashed it. All right, we are running well over time.
I know. I have one more question though, because I think part of leaving is also starting well. So, who did you have, or what kind of support did you get, whether it be from your new boss in any of those positions in these transitions that you've had?
Yeah, I mean, I think you still talk to the same mentors when you're starting, if you're potentially having difficulty, or if you're transitioning, right? I think each time you leave, you're leaving people that you care about, and so the transition can be tough. You're leaving institutions and the way that they work. I mean, Rutgers is significantly different than what FIT is, just even location-wise, right? But I think, again, having conversations with your boss, my current boss too is great, and she's fantastic and very supportive about my own development as well as what the role needs to be at the institution and what we want to get out of it. But listening. I think it's really easy as a young person too, wanting to come in, all these fresh ideas, let's just hit the ground running and do it, which is great. And sometimes you can have a couple that you can throw in right when you get there. But sometimes it's just listening to how we've done things. How can we modify it a little? How can we continue to make change? And then doing a little bit by a little bit rather than potentially all at once. And that may not. Now a year in, I have a year perspective of what things might be to now modify things for the next year and continue doing that each year, right? And so I think it's really important to observe and to be part of the process with everyone else that's there, especially if there's newer and older folks, because that's always a tricky dynamic.
It's a topic in and of itself.
A bit of friction sometimes.
And we definitely have that at FIT. We have some folks who've been there for a really, really long time, and then folks on my team that have been there for a year and a half, 2 years, 3 years, myself for a year. And so kind of having those conversations about, this is the way we've always done it, and it's true to FIT. Okay, but how can we make it better for our students and for us while we look to grow together?
Like, everyone shows up with fashionable shoes on. Melissa wants to show up with a boot. So what, people at FIT?
The trendsetter.
It's fashion.
Listen, I don't wear these all the time. I'll be really honest with you. Okay?
It's fashion.
Certain days. Other days I have a boot.
Yeah.
Just because this is gonna fracture, so I'm just gonna...
I'm prepping.
You have your own hashtag boot life.
There you go. We just created a new one. There it is.
It sounds like the name of a song or something, like some days I'm a high heel, some days I'm a boot.
Sounds like a country song.
Yeah.
Why are you...
Or, yeah.
Okay.
He played his own instrument.
It's really high up, too.
The banjo.
Right?
Banjos. You play banjos high up.
Why are you looking at me when he does it? Like,
some days I'm a high heel, some days I'm a boot.
Is the banjo that high up now?
I cannot wait to pull this clip. This one little clip.
Can you play some banjo there? Like, can you?
Some days I'm a high heel.
I think it's funnier without it.
That's true. That's true.
Don't talk to
his
my
air
heel.
banjo.
I'm gonna peel my orange today. Can we carry on with the show? I'm just killing time.
It's time for some shameless self-promotion.
Did you hear that? It's time for what?
So Juhi, we have a segment every episode where we just want to talk to these our fans.
Oh, okay.
Our fans, the million of them.
Fly low for a bit.
So give us just a moment while we turn towards the camera.
And the topic is perfect.
Hi everyone. Hi. The topic today was leaving gracefully, and we realized that this time of year, you know what? A lot of people are leaving gracefully from high school into college. And what would be a better thing to give that high school graduate than our freshman success book, First Year Student to First Year Success? 21, not 20, not 19, not even 22, because you don't need to. You only need 21 tips to succeed at college.
We're that good.
Where can you find this?
So check out our website, swiftkickhq.com, or you can click subscribe below. Or you can subscribe to our newsletter by texting Team Human to 66866.
Can they also find this on Amazon?
Absolutely. On the website, swiftkickhq.com, hit our store, and that will send you right over there.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Enjoy. Thanks. Welcome.
We're back.
And now back to our regular scheduled programming.
We gotta talk to these walls about their pronunciation.
Well, we're back from the shameless self-promotion, and we've asked you the hard-hitting questions. Now we have the hard-hitting activity for you. Sabina, take it away. What do we got?
All right. So we mentioned that she has a hashtag that she uses to chronicle her commute, and it's called #TravelsWithJuhi. So they do not know what I've written down, but what I will do is you get a fake and a real, and hold on here, I'll shuffle it. So what we're gonna do is I'm going to read a tweet that may or may not be a real Travels with Juhi or not. I think they're all hilarious, so don't look at me like I'm going to give a clue, because I just think I'm funny or she's funny.
Okay.
So, thank you. So you hold up your real or fake. Ready? In retrospect, take your child to work day was probably the worst day to take the train for the first time. #Travels with Juhi.
Oh, man. I'm going real. Dang it, I don't want to look at hers.
I know.
Right? No, sorry, I'm going to look this way.
That's all correct.
Can you give us
I remember that day fondly.
1, 2, yeah, give us like a count.
Yeah,
we
to count
all
you.
go at the same time.
It's
Yeah,
like the newlywed game, too.
We're like that.
That's what I feel like about it.
So,
good practice round.
ready? I'd rather walk to Jersey than be in the Port Authority right now. #Travels with Juhi.
Oh, man. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Dang it!
Yeah.
She knows. I would.
I was like, I wouldn't want to walk to Jersey now.
No.
I would never.
I mean, I've been in Port Authority.
Yeah, then again, those who have been in the Port Authority.
You know.
All right, ready? There is not enough wine in the world to wait out this bus delay with. #Travels with Juhi.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. It's fake.
I'm not big on alcohol.
I was like, yeah, she's not a drinker.
If it said chocolate, I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
There's not enough Ghirardelli.
Exactly. Probably real.
If not, it's coming up tomorrow.
All right. And the other gentleman sitting in the seat opposite mine has been on the phone the whole time. I've learned a lot about his diet. #Travels with Juhi. 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Yes.
Do you remember
trying to lose weight. Yeah. I remember it. Yeah.
Well, yesterday he had steak. And
honestly, yes. And I was like, that's not helping you lose weight. I really wanted to stop him and be like, listen.
Don't you want to just interrupt people's conversations and be like,
I honestly, most of the time, just want to say, do you really want all these people to know about this?
Right. Are we really FaceTiming on the bus now? Woman face palming emoji. #Travels with Juhi. #commuter probs.
Ooh, double hashtag.
Strong hashtag game.
Sorry, not sorry.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Totally happened.
Yeah?
I mean, lots of people do it in New York. I'm very surprised at the folks who walk the streets of New York FaceTiming.
Yeah.
But the bus...
Oh, I've seen people walk into the bathroom FaceTime. I'm just like, inappropriate.
Bathroom stories are terrible.
Ready?
Yes.
Accidentally stabbed someone in the back with my umbrella. #rain. #commuter probs. #travel with Juhi.
Stab somebody with it?
In the back with my umbrella.
Stabbed someone in the back with my umbrella.
She doesn't remember when she stabbed someone.
Stab is such a strong word, too.
Stab
I was trying to remember.
That's why I'm wondering, would you say stab?
I don't know.
But it makes for a
I'm having a really bad day.
it makes for a good tweet.
All right, are we ready?
Yeah.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. That is fake.
Oh.
I was like, I wouldn't say stab. Yeah.
Dang it.
I've
been hit by someone with an umbrella.
I researched your Twitter, and then I was like,
I'm impressed. Quite impressed.
I'm really good at stalking. Beware.
Yeah.
All right. Can't say being smacked in the face by coats is my favorite thing while sitting on the bus. # travels with Juhi. Oh, she's confused too. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Yep.
Yeah.
This is another short people problem.
If you're on the phone while I sit next to you on the train, I will start responding to your mom's questions. # clean out the basement, mom. # I'm coming home. # travels with Juhi.
What? She's actively considering that she would have said this.
Ready? 1, 2, 3. It's fake.
I was actually considering that's a great tweet. Thank you. So good. I did not write that, but it's fantastic.
I'm gonna write it tonight.
Right? I think I'm gonna hire Sabina to start reading my tweets though.
I got hired on the show again.
I think that this is good though. I don't
Every
have to do
episode
it.
she gets hired.
Oh gosh. Okay. All right.
Final one.
All right.
For all the glory.
The last one. Are you ready? This is a big deal. Today's commute is brought to you by the letter T for terrible. # snow. # travels with Juhi. # commuter probs.
This one's rough. I don't know.
I mean, okay.
1, 2, 3. It's real.
I said it?
Yeah.
I was like, it snowed a lot, so I feel like,
Did I say that?
that would happen.
You got me. You got me on one, Sabina.
I see it.
We it's time. It's time to end the show. So we like to end with a final thought that we all share, or a key takeaway.
No pressure.
That we had. There is going to come a point in almost everyone's life that there's going to be a transition in and out of a job, and how someone chooses to do that will show up multiple times in their life, because as Juhi said, every industry is small, and so people will show up over and over again. So if you choose to leave a job, do it gracefully so you don't burn the bridge. That's my final thought.
Truth bomb. Mic drop. But I don't know.
My final thought is to make sure you have a good group around you that will support you through the questioning period, through the decision, and then of course once you start that new position. It sounds like you had a really good group that you can rely on.
Yeah, I've been lucky.
Including Minnie.
Right? She's great.
And Juhi, while Sabina plays us some lovely music, do you have a final thought?
I think I would say, really, as I mentioned before, don't leave just to leave. I think that can be problematic. So really figure out what type of position you want to go to, what type of institution, what experience you're looking for, and be really strategic about it if you can be, and take the time to do that for yourself.
I love it. Every guest who comes on the show leaves the show with a gift.
That's true.
But we didn't get you anything.
Oh,
But
that's not leaving gracefully.
yeah.
This is for Tom. Here you go.
Thank you.
Careful, the ribbon's got little wires in it, so don't stab yourself.
Oh boy, all right, this could be problematic. Am I supposed to open this?
Yes?
Yes.
Oh, okay. It's exciting. Some folks don't want you to
There's
open
that
your
word
gifts in
again,
front of you.
stab.
It does now. Look
I-
at it.
See,
wanna-
Sabina came up
It's
with
a
it.
Sabina word, now we know.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh, there we go.
Ooh, kitchen towels.
There's little notes for you here to explain.
Oh, because you love pups and cooking. Okay, perfect. I do like to bake, and this is good.
Nice.
And then, because a warm drink makes a hard commute better. Ain't that the truth? Ooh! This is awesome! Oh, thank you! Now everybody will know my name. And they'll see me tweeting, and I'll be like,
Yeah, you might want to cover
Follow
that
me.
up on the Cedar buses. Like,
this is
travels
so
with no one.
awesome. Thank you so much.
Someone's
Thank
gonna see
you.
it. Yeah. Someone's gonna see it and then see her
Right?
tweet about them
I
in
know.
the moment.
It's going to be
Someone
problematic.
check you on my mug.
Someone's staring at me. Make them stop.
I'm going to get a ton of people replying to my tweets.
Hey, that was me. I just want to be your friend.
Sorry, not sorry.
Well, thank you again for joining
Yes,
us
thank you
here
so
in the
much.
studio and for sharing your stories and your experience around leaving gracefully. We had a great time, great conversation.
Oh, me too. Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks to everyone out there
Thanks
in
for watching.
YouTube land. with that, it comes to an end. Thanks. Bye.
Bye. I wouldn't want somebody to respond to my mom, though, so I probably wouldn't. I feel bad for the mom. Probably doesn't even know she's on the phone on the bus.
They're like,
or
oh,
the
what's
train.
for dinner? Potatoes. You're having potatoes.
Nothing!